What's up? What's up? What's up? It is Friday. It is after 9, like way after 9. It's like 9:23. My apologies for those who actually come here at exactly 9 o'clock expecting me to be on the air. Good evening, Gem Girl, 1975. Good to see you. Mr. Jonathan Trihuba, good to see you as well. Thank you for asking. Was a little late this time around because I was once a month. I'm one of the panel of the great folks over at Xenoscope Entertainment. Once a month, we do a classic kind of 80s, 90s movie. And along with Marilyn Gigliotti, you may know her from, of course, the original Clerks and the recent Jane Silent Bob reboot, plus many other films. And Crystal Starr, who's known from the TV show Lego Masters, and soon Kunamayaki. She is an amazing comic book artist. We did Night of the Comet. That aired earlier tonight, live at 6. We went long. We went till 8:20, just because the two stars of that movie, Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Mulroney, were the guests on the show. So the first half hour of the show was just talking to them about their experience shooting Night of the Comet. Plus, obviously, Kelly and Catherine have been in other incredibly classic films as well. So that ran late. And then by the time I got off the computer, I had to eat something. So Diane made a lovely tortellini with mushroom and meat sauce. We used the Impossible meat, that vegan meat, that meat that's made out of plants. Really good. Throw it in a sauce with some mushrooms. I challenge you to taste the difference. So anyway, so I had to have something to eat. And then I was like, look, I got to get down there. Hey, Danger Girl, how are you? Everybody, please wish Danger Girl AC. It is her birthday today. So to Amy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Danger Girl AC. Happy birthday to you. Spending your birthday watching me on a screen. Come on, you got to kick it up a notch there, girl. You got to go on the beach. It's only a couple of blocks from your house and burn a bonfire and go nuts. So everybody wish Danger Girl AC happy birthday. Just so you know, I've known her for quite a few years, and she doesn't believe in a birthday. She believes in like birthday weeks. At one time, I believe one year it was a birthday month. There was a big celebration for an entire month. So this I think, because of COVID restrictions, I think it's only down to a weekend. So good to see people on board here. Captain Mike Sparrow, good to see you as well. The Duke, good to see you. Libby McDermott, good to see you as well. Vegans will rule the world. Well, if we kill all the planet the way we is, who sees what'll happen there. Dead Ahead RA, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Mississippi Tom, good to see you as well. I think I know who Mississippi Tom is. I'm sure. I think. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys for jumping on. I have no guests scheduled this evening. I had a busy week working on some other things. Plus, I knew that the good folks at Xenoscope were doing the movie club thing. So if you haven't seen Night of the Comet, it's an 1984 film. It's funny because I brought up during that broadcast how many actual amazing films came out in 1984. Just really, really crazy. All the great films that came out during that time. And so what was funny was like I made the Terminator, the original Terminator came out in 84. And so did the Night of the Comet. And I said to Catherine Mary Stewart that it's so funny, the hair of the 80s, especially for action movies for the women, had this incredible hair. And so I pulled this up. Oops, that's the wrong one. I pulled this up. And I was like, they must have had the same hairdresser on Night of the Comet as they did Terminator. Because it was like, that was it. It was a perm that they then feathered out. And you know what? And to be honest with you, I miss that hair as a guy, not to be wearing that hair, but to see it on women. Um, so it was fun pointing that out to her. She absolutely a lovely guest. So was Kelly Maroney was a lovely guest as well. So if you get a chance, check out the Xenoscope folks. Um, and actually, funny enough, bringing up the Terminator, next month, it actually will be the Terminator we'll be discussing. We're working on some special guests of cast members that were in the film. So we'll see. That's next month. I think the date is April 30th. If you get a chance, catch it out. It's a great movie, obviously. If you haven't seen the Terminator, come on, see the Terminator. James Cameron, that was like his breakout film, to be honest with you. So it'll be fun next month. But this was a fun ride. The 84 music, you got that right, Joanna Sisto, excuse me. The music for 84 was amazing as well. And what was so funny about the Night of the Comet was the abundance of synthesized music in that film was hilarious. Like, everything was synthesizers. And that film, as campy as the idea of the film was, if you haven't seen the film, it's on Amazon for to rent. That's how I watched it last night, because I think I saw it in 85, 86 at someone's house at one point. And it's campy. It's hokey. I'm not going to lie. The premise is there's this meteor passing the Earth, and people all around the planet are like, "Ooh, look! It's like a Halley's Comet event, but pretty much bigger." But something happens where the trail of the comet does things to people. Spoiler alert! I'm not gonna spoil it for people. Turns people a bit crazy, and certain people disappear. And these two young sisters of like high school age survive and try to figure out where did everybody go, kind of thing. It was kind of like the Infinity Glove, the Infinity Gauntlet snap before the Infinity Gauntlet snap happens, kind of thing. So that's right, turn to dust. And so it's fun. It's a fun campy kind of ride. There's a lot of, oh my god, the one-liners that are written into the script are hilarious. And both Catherine and Kelly did an amazing job with the script that they were given. It's not a special effects forte. It was done on a pretty micro budget for that time. There's some really good, Mac 10 machine gun action. That was a lot of fun. So it's a good giggle. It's a good giggle because I mean, I don't know if they meant the movie to be campy, but it's pretty campy. So it'd be kind of funny. We'll see. And so if you get a chance, if you've seen the movie and you want to hear Kelly Maroney and Catherine Mary Stewart talk about it after this broadcast on YouTube or here on Twitch or on Facebook, check out the Xenoscope site and find it there. It's a lot of fun. Plus, Xenoscope, it's a entertainment company, but it's all their main business is comic book publishing and comic book art. And as you see on the side there, we've done different versions of alternate universe kind of covers of different movies. The bottom one being Edward Scissorhands, the middle one being Underworld, and the one above that is Dreamscape, which were movies that we had reviewed in previous episodes. So they always come up with this kind of alternative cover, which they also sell to the fans out there. So Mr. Ferraro, good to hear from you as well. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. Hope things are going well up in Worcester, Mass. Wicked awesome indeed. So a little crazy week, a little sad week in some instances. We had a mass shooting yet again. A lot of people are saying, America's getting back to normal. We're getting past this pandemic when we're out shooting each other again. So it's sad to say that once again, a guy who can buy a gun 6 days after a ban has been stopped by a judge can just go and shoot up a place. I keep hearing that old phrase in my head from, well, we need the good guys with guns to stop the guys with the bad guys with guns. Well, it took a while. It took a while for the good guys with guns to show up. And one of those good guys, first in the door, doing his duty, killed Officer Talley from the Boulder Police Department. God rest his soul. And to all the first responders who came to that situation with no concern of their own, just to put an end to the mayhem that was going on there at the King Supermarket. My condolences to the families out there of not only that mass shooting, but the other mass shootings. I mean, it's just getting silly, getting ridiculous. I don't like talking about it on my show. But here we are. And then we also have, craziness down in Georgia, making people going through hoops. Can't give water now or food to people who have to wait like 11 hours in line to vote. That's now a crime. It's now a crime to hand food to people waiting in neighborhoods where, let's see, we'll take away, you used to have 4 polling places. We'll bring you down to 1 to force you to stay there longer in line. But then while you're in line, let's not give you food or drink. As a matter of fact, we will charge someone with a crime if we give you food and drink while you're waiting in line to do your most civic of duties, vote. There's only one reason behind that. Politicians who are writing these legislations are afraid that if legitimate, honest people who have the right to vote all had easy access to vote, some of those good old boys won't have jobs. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of obvious. Because the dead aren't voting, people. There's not massive fraud. There's no evidence of it. And then when evidence does come up, it's usually of a certain party that have done this. Voting for dead mothers. Voting for people who moved out of state. But whoa, let's do it. Let's change the law. We didn't win last time, so let's make it so we can win. All right. I know no one likes doing politics. Everybody does politics. I'm not smart enough to do politics, the justice it is. But I'm not going to lie. It's crazy. But we do. Look, if I need to go study, take a test, take a driver's test, insure a vehicle that I buy, so in case I do damage to somebody or kill someone, God forbid, there are some sort of recompense. I say the same thing should happen for a gun. Come on. It's just as lethal, if not more so. That's all. Just make guns where you got to license them and have the carriers insure them. Take a test, register them every year. Like you got to go in like every 2 years, like you register your car or whatever. Just so you get a good see at the person who would actually, this gun belongs to me. This is my gun. There is only one gun like it. It is mine. Like, okay there, Commando. You may need to be separated from your gun for a little bit. So anyway, enough of that. So how is everybody doing out there? I'm looking at the board here. I'm seeing a lot of emojis and a lot of things going on. I'm not sure what the trend is. Am I been raided? Is that what happened here? Crystal Star in the room. What? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Crystal Star X. If you get a chance, please follow her page. She is hilarious. She is awesome. She is a woman who has an incredibly unique opinion on a lot of things. And the reason I say that is because she thinks a lot like me too, and I think a lot like her. So she is the best. She's one of the nicest people you ever meet. If you follow on Instagram, she's incredibly crafty. She's crafty, and she's that song. And so and her dog, and her little dog too, is very adorable too. So big ups to Crystal. Thank you for coming over. She was also on the very extra large edition of the Xenoscope Movie Club. And we got to talk some really great questions. We even brought in some questions about influencers in general and acting and how, you know, people coming into the acting world and television shows who are influencers, who actually lose money on the projects that the TV shows. Like, yeah, come on our TV show, and like, yo, I'm gonna lose a whole month of what I do online and stuff. And she makes it great, and she loves Legos, and she's a Lego master. So you got to love that. The best thing about it is, the worst thing about it is actually stepping on a Lego or Lego bricks. If anybody watches Seth Meyers, he did a whole segment about what Legos are called, and it was an ongoing gag on his show. So if you ever saw Seth Meyers talking about Legos and Lego bricks and put away your Legos, and that's not the plural of the word Legos. It's Lego. Lego bricks is the plural, and so it was very funny. Anyway, so thank you so much, Crystal, for coming on. And Trey Mock, good to see you as well. Uriel, good to see you as well. Rad, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Yin Yang 847, good to see you as well. Chicago Superman, what up? What up? Chicago, one of my favorite cities of all time. Sir John 88, good to see you, good sir. Mad Brothers Media, good to see you, sir. Spaced Ranger Spin Nerd, Goldberg from the Goldbergs, good to see you as well. Thank you all for joining. Check out also Kevin's Kids podcast. Yes, I've seen you've been interviewing a couple of the people from the View Askewniverse, those over at Mad Brothers Media. Mr. Ian Bonner, good to see you as well. Producer of the film I was a part of called Right Before Your Eyes. Good to be joining me tonight, sir. Closer Look is always genius. Yes, the Duke, you were right. Seth Meyers and his Closer Looks are worth it. I go from after the news at 11:30 ends, I go right to Stephen Colbert. I watch his opening monologue or his meanwhiles, and if there's a great guest on, I'll watch a great guest. He had Dana Carvey the whole night the other night, and watch that whole episode alone. Dana Carvey is hilariously funny. And he has, as a matter of fact, Dana Carvey has a new podcast, Streamcast, called Fantastic. And he says it in the most ironic ways. And then I go from once Colbert ends, I'm a big fan of then jumping over to Seth Meyers and watching his whole opening sequence. And of course, Closer Look. Amber Says What, another hilarious segment. And Jokes That Seth Can't Say is another great segment. The Burner, You Burnt segment's always fun as well. And Hey, when he just focuses on one thing and he's like, hey, gotta love it. So big fan of Seth Meyers and his writing staff, especially. And same thing with Colbert's writing staff. Congratulations on their awards as well that they recently won. So anyway, what's this? In Clerks 2 at movies, the Beanie Babies by the register. Was that a statement on the Beanie Baby craze at the time? I don't know if it was a statement there, Spin Nerd, as much as just they were ubiquitous wherever you went. You know, everybody was collecting Beanie Babies, which nowadays, I guess, for the kids who don't know what they were what Pops are today. And Pops will be worth what Beanie Babies are today as well. Like nothing. And before Beanie Babies, it was Pet Rocks and Star Wars figures. See, in the 70s when Star Wars figures came out, like I was 7, so I played with my Star Wars figures and my Star Wars toys. Pogs, good point there. Danger Girl, good, that's right. Garbage Pail Kids, you're right. So it's all these phases. So as far as the movies, Cow, yeah, it's just a plush. So you like, This Moobies beer glass, which I just picked up at the Orlando's Moobies pop-up. This is useful because it can hold my drinks. This is, I think, an Irish Beanie Baby. Is this a Beanie Baby? Yes, it is. It's a Beanie Baby. There's the tie logo, and it's Irish because it's got a shamrock, of course. This is probably not worth a thing, but I like it because, it's Irish and it's green and it's a bean-filled bear. But you get enough people to believe, like, hey, you should want one too. And then you have a hot selling item. Just like, I literally have just like 5. And they're ones that, of Pops. And this is one of them, Mr. Meeseeks. I'm a big Rick and Morty fan. And as you see, I didn't even take the $10. I bought it at a con from some vendor. It was $10 because it was hard to find. And the only reason why I bought it was because someone gave me Rick and Morty. So I have weaponized Rick and weaponized, and this one's actually signed by him, and weaponized Morty. By the way, those guys are super, super, super sweet, nice guys. And so I was like, well, I got to have Mr. Meeseeks. And that's what got me started on that. I don't actually go out and pursue it. Hang on. And then the other 2, once again, given to me, didn't buy them. This one was an exclusive for Rhode Island Comic Con. Blue Stealth Iron Man. It was like in the goodie bag for the guests. And then this was a joke between a friend of mine who lives in Colorado, funny enough. A friend of mine who kind of was my muscle, like was driving me around in places in Colorado and stuff like that. And jokingly, I called him my muscle. When like, who's, you can get into this area. Who's this guy? I'm like, oh, he's my muscle. And he's a big guy. He's an ex-Marine. And he had a Popeye shirt on. I was like, well, he's my muscle. Can't you tell? He has the Popeye shirt on. So like a year or so later, I get this in the mail. And it's the Popeye pop. And I was like, why did they send him it? And so he wrote on it to Brian, from your muscle, all the best, Smitty. So there's my entire collection of Pops. Now I have friends, and I don't goof on them. This is their collection. That's what they want to collect. More power to you. But I mean, there are dudes. I know one guy who actually deals in this stuff, and he's got like entire rooms, like entire bedrooms filled, just absolutely filled for with Pops. And I'm just like, holy crap. That's a lot of fat-headed plastic. I gotta put these back up. And I just have my basic stuff, just so you can see. This is the second camera. Yeah, big time, man. I'm like a studio now with multiple cameras. So you can see this is just like up there on the top shelf of things, of all of my, this is like the corner of collectibles. of note. There's really nothing like, oh, I have a rare first edition of such and such. Yeah, it's I don't roll like that. So we'll see. I mean, I have stuff that I like or that people have given me that I enjoy to display. And I find that people with collections, you know, they have it. They love it. And I'm amazed when I go to people's houses and they have incredible collections. I'm like, wow. Like even my own Diane, she has one of our bedrooms and all of her, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 2 bookcases like this behind me, and then 2 bookcases with glass doors. And since she was a child, she collect panda items. I should do a show actually just from that room because she's got all sorts of panda items that you can think of. It's crazy. So, um, but yeah, it's like really expensive collectible bears that are like sculpted, like handmade by certain artists, paintings, silk things, silk paintings of pandas, wooden sculptures of pandas, a whole bunch of stuff. It's a lot of fun. But it's been an interesting week. For those who've been asking, I have I've been sent the 4th draft. There's some sort of gnat. Now that the weather is warmed up where I live, all these like gnats or something are flying around. I got the 4th draft of the new Clerks 3. So I've been having to take that and read through it and start getting our lines down. Hopefully, I mean, Kevin has given me the heads up that we hope to be shooting sometime in June and July of this year, God willing, and all vaccinations be had and whatever have you. The plan is to shoot OG style back in New Jersey. OG in the NJ, back at the Quick Stop. So if you're in the central Jersey area in the June, July part of the year, you may be seeing some activity outside the Quick Stop, inside the Quick Stop, all around the Quick Stop. Should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. The script is good. The script is deep. The script is funny, of course. It goes back to the old school kind of small location, tight production, a lot of hilarious dialogue, not a lot of action. It's not a a Zack Snyder cut of Clerks or nothing like that. Which, by the way, I enjoyed it. I know there's a mix of opinions of the Zack Snyder cut. Now I'm seeing the hashtag, bring back the Snyder universe and all this other stuff. So, I listen. Kevin said this on his Fat Man Beyond with Mark Bernardin podcast just a couple of nights ago. Give this guy money and let him do a movie. Every couple of months or something like an hour and a half of something with HBO Max or I'd see it. I'd watch it too. It's a different take. It's a different angle on the universe. But I liked it. I think everybody did a great job with it. I know a couple of my other hardcore comic book friends like, oh, well, it's not the right, this is not the canon for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but, did you enjoy it for the 4 hours? I did. I mean, I stopped it once to get up and pee, and refresh my drink. You got your money's worth, right? If you had HBO, you were getting it anyway. It's not like you paid for more. You just got more just because they like you. I like that they fleshed out the characters more. I like that they fleshed out the Flash more. They fleshed out Cyborg more. The more the origin story, and gave more of an origin story. You know, to everybody. I like the dream kind of nightmare aspects of Batman. And Superman, and the Joker scene towards the end. Spoiler alert. Um, I thought it was good. It was good seeing. Was it Deadshot? Is it Deadshot who shows up at the end? I forget the name, the character. Joe, what's his name, plays it. Yes, Deadshot. Thank you. I liked it. I liked that scene because the original ending, the Whedon ending, where it was just him on the boat and he just goes, "Oh, we have something to talk about." In the end of it, and that version, I was like, "What? There needs to be more." And to see more of it, where they all team up for a certain reason, was kind of cool. And then the Martian Manhunter. Oh, spoiler alert. Showing up towards the end, or not really showing up, just revealing himself because he had been in the other movies. I thought it was good. Look, like I said, Deathstroke. Deathstroke? Yes, Deathstroke. You're right. Thank you. I knew it was a D. But yeah, I'd totally pay to see more of that universe, that version of the DC universe. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see, a Justice League that was like my Saturday mornings cartoons Justice League. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, I want to see that movie. Give me the Legion of Doom movie already. Manta Man, and Solomon Grundy and Bizarro, and I think that's, even if you did it animated, which would be cool too, but wouldn't you love to see a live version of that Justice League, and just seeing the Legion of Doom just coming out from the swamp? Oh, take my money, please. Where's that meme with Fry? Shut up and take my money. Totally. You could totally take my money for a Legion of Doom money. Legion of Doom movie? Oh, please tell me someone is working on that. Just that too. They don't even have to interact with Superman. Just seeing them come together, like seeing Lex Luthor getting people together, and starting that whole thing. Oh, love it. Love it. Scarecrow. Who else? Tons of just that. And just have a fleeting interaction with the Justice League, but just do the origin story of the Legion of Doom and then follow it up with a Justice League versus Legion of Doom, or JLVLOD. Here you go. There's the title. I just wrote it for you. You can have that. It's for free. I can see the posters now. And then make that a 4-hour movie as well. Boom. Or make it a TV series. Make it an episodic on HBO Max or wherever you want to do it. Oh, that would be awesome. And then you got to find someone who was the same kind of voiceover narrator from the cartoon series. Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom. I mean, I could do it. I'm available. Meanwhile, back at the Hall in Justice. Be fun. Show of hands. Who would want to watch that? Emoji hands. You'd want to see that. Have I seen the new trailer for Suicide Squad? Yes. I'm looking forward to James Gunn's version of Suicide Squad. I'm a big fan of everything James Gunn. Haha, got that little gnat. Finally, it's flying around my screen. Yeah, totally would. I can't wait to see the new one. Justice Wars, Legion Strikes Back, Return of Justice. I like all those titles, Rick Young. Thank you for joining us. Superbones, good to see you, sir. Mr. Emmett from Haven of Heroes up in Port Jervis, New York. If they're around that area for your comics, there's the man to go for it. Mr. Mike Travis, good to hear from you as well. Of course, you'll see me at that voiceover audition. I'm sure you would do a great version of that voice too, or just your own version of that voice, because you're Kingman, King Shark. King Shark is going to be awesome. Yes, I think being played by the one and only Michael Rooker, I believe, is playing King Shark, if I remember correctly. I know Rooker's involved somehow. I think he does all James Gunn's movies. Bob Odenkirk as badass auditor. Yeah, here you go. Was it Stallone? I don't know. I'm not keeping up on it. I should, though. I like the poster. I like that kind of retro kind of poster that they put out for it. Stallone is King Shark. Okay, well, there you go. Hey, I'm King Shark. It's so funny that everybody does that as the impersonation of Stallone in anything. Hey, yo. The one role that, got him his Oscar, of course, but the one role that has stuck with him forever. Yo, King Shark. I could swim and bite you. Yo, don't make me bite you. Cut me, Mickey. You're an animal, King Shark. You got to go in there, King Shark, and bite the shit out of him, King Shark. Oh, my God. That'd be hilarious. Captain Mike Sparrow says, don't know if I caught this earlier. Among Us has a new map coming out on the 31st. Yes, I'm way, way overdue getting back to jumping in onto both Jay Muse's games of Among Us, but just my own Twitch streaming gaming. I haven't done that in a while. You're right, and I apologize for all those. Penguin versus Shark. That's clever. I like it. That's a tough pick, because Penguin is like the Batman of the evil villains. Penguin always has little gadgets himself. It's almost as if the Penguin hacks into Bruce Wayne's computer and goes, I'll make my own version of that. He has his little utility belt as well. But Penguin versus King Shark? I don't know. If you ever watch Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, Shark is usually winner of that game. I mean, look, penguins travel in large groups, and there's always one that's going down with some shark biting it. So, yeah, I would. Ooh, Superbone says Penguin would win. See, that's what I mean. Like, Penguin. Okay, who was best, Burgess Meredith or Danny DeVito? Those two penguins are a tough call. I mean, obviously Burgess was the first one ever introduced to me as a kid. He played that whole cigarette holder. But Danny DeVito in the Tim Burton version, it's just a different feel, different universe. I say both win in the two universes that they were portrayed in. I think Meredith was perfect for the TV series of Batman. I think that worked. Get him, and he had his goons always running ahead and fighting Batman and Robin. While Danny DeVito had that you had sympathy for the Danny DeVito Penguin. You didn't really have sympathy for Burgess Meredith's version of the Penguin. While I kind of did feel sad for Danny DeVito's Penguin. And I never watched enough of the TV series Gotham to see how that actor played. The actor who played the Penguin in that series looked wise. I said, "Ooh, that's an interesting take on the Penguin." Um, but yeah, that they both win for they both portrayed well. I think Danny wins just for the acting ability of making the Penguin as sympathetic as he portrayed it to be. So Gotham Penguin is the best. Nolan North in the Arkham is second, and Burgess is third. All right, that's a good breakdown. Same for the Riddler. Which do you, in the '60s, John Astin or Frank Gorshin? You know what? I liked Frank Gorshin, and you know what it was for me? It was his scrawny, thin, and then that laugh. That laugh of that Riddler, you knew you knew for a fact um, that why am I drawing a blank? The actor who played it in the Batman Forever, the comedian, I forget. Anyway, you can tell that Jim Carrey, thank you. You can tell that Jim Carrey was going more the Gorshin version of the Riddler. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Carrey did a great job as well. It was unfortunate though that I wasn't a big fan of that script of and the origin story. That I don't know for some reason that version of that one. Now here we go with Catwoman, Lee Lee Merriweather, or of course, well, there's three of them because you could do her. You can do. I mean, Lee Merriweather, when she, especially the costume she had when she came on screen, it was kind of a big hubbub for television for a woman to be in a cat suit like that. Eartha Kitt, Julie Newmar. I mean, to be honest with you, anyone who pulled on that cat suit wins. Like Anne Hathaway, yep, another take on it. Um, Eartha Kitt had that obviously that voice, which was incredibly sexy. Julie Newmar, another different take on it. I don't think there's any losers when it comes down to them at all. I think every one of them did a phenomenal job as Catwoman. Um, what's her name who portrayed it in Tim Burton's movie? Uh, why am I? Yeah, Pfeiffer. Come on, Pfeiffer. Wow, she was great. Absolutely great. Um, she did all the whip work, from what I understood. She actually did her stunts, so to speak. Um, and come on, it's Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, there's not there's not one actress who portrayed Catwoman who was not great in the role, sexy in the suit, and empowering as that character. Um, so there you go with that one. I've never been like, oh, that's miscast. No, everybody who played that role was, I think, cast. Need a Jennifer Aniston Catwoman? I don't know about that one, sir. Tom, you've been hitting the drinking a little early or a little late. I don't know. I don't see the personality of Jennifer Aniston being a Catwoman. That's just me. If you were to if you were to recast, if you were going to cast it again, I mean, they haven't come up in the Snyder version, right? Not that I can think of, right? So it'd be interesting to see who Snyder would cast in that role today. Would it be someone dark and goofy? Emma Stone? That'd be an interesting choice, although she literally just gave birth to a kid this week, if not today or yesterday, Emma Stone, so she'll need a couple of days at least. I don't know. The character often play party Krav Maga. Ekrov Maga? Don't know what you're saying. Bizette, good to see you, Bizette. Oh my God, I forgot. I need to watch the 4-hour Snyder Cut on HBO soon. Yes, Bizette. Set aside. You can break it up into parts. That was the one thing I did like was he did do exactly that. He had chapter titles. He broke it into parts with the black screen and the chapter title, which was great. So you can watch a couple of chapters, and as soon as it comes to another chapter and you want to go eat or whatever, you can do that. It's not going to mess with the mojo of the film. Jennifer Aniston in the Christmas Office Party was a bit of a badass. Okay, I can see that. Zoe Kravitz as the new Catwoman. Yeah, there you go. I can see that. Zoe Kravitz is a good take on that. Yeah, that would be good. Who else in DC do we have to cast now? I feel like we're cast. None of us here have the money to actually make this movie or have any influence to make this movie, but we sure can make our opinions felt on who should be cast. Does anyone know the status of Rick Moranis in the new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Oh. Who replaces Margot as Harley one day? That's a good question. Who would replace Margot as Harley one day? First of all, she did a fantastic. She's been doing a fantastic job as Harley. And Tara does a fantastic job as the voice for the animated series. Don't know. That's a good question. Aubrey Plaza as Harley. Ooh, Scott Meany, thank you for joining us. I like that choice. You know what? I could pick her for either Harley or Catwoman. Aubrey Plaza. She has that just right amount of, you look at her even in real life and you go, is she kooky? Is she crazy? Or I can't quite get a hold of what she's yet she still has an incredible amount of sex appeal. So Aubrey Plaza, good choice. I like that. That could be a trending topic. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would still want to see Margot as Harley in future movies. But if you had to change, Christopher Reeve as Superman, just couldn't see any other than him in the role. Really casted that right. They really casted that right. Yeah, I think Cavill has done a tremendous job as Superman in these past movies. Brandon Routh, I gotta say, it didn't quite make it for me either, and I think that's why he only went through one. And we've seen a tremendous amount of people as the Joker. Anna Kendrick as Poison Ivy. Yeah, I could see that. She's another one who could play sweet and then turn on it. Although, to be honest with you, that was one performance out of that version of Batman. Uma Thurman, I thought, had that kind of, European exoticness, yet nerdy scientist kind of vibe that I felt worked. I'm a big Uma. I think Uma was a really good Poison Ivy. So today, Anna Kendrick, yeah, I'd see it. I liked Anna Kendrick in The Accountant with Affleck. I thought that was a good role. Good role for that one. Bryce Dallas Howard possibly as Poison Ivy. Is it because of the red hair, or I don't know. I like her. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I got to go see the next, Bryce Dallas Howard movie. But we'll see. Some of the best ones are the ones that are way outside their type of cast, and is a surprise. Yes, usually when someone is cast in a role that is not usually they're not usually seen in portraying, it's usually a nice surprise, which is true. I like seeing people in roles that you normally like, what? And then they're like, oh shit, so and so is shooting people with guns. This is crazy. Whoa, I didn't know Urkel had that much anger in him. Shit like that's always fun. Especially if you're seeing people who are normally not cast in strong like action roles, all of a sudden busting out the action chops. Those are nice surprises. Like, oh shit, he knows how to hold a gun. I should really just put this banner down on here since it is just like audience Q&A. That's pretty much what it's been all this time. Do you think Hollywood will trend away from darker comic book film versions and go lighter, brighter takes on the comics? Good question. I would say yes and no. It's going to depend on what filmmaker takes what property and is allowed to do with that property. I just read an article this week that eventually the copyrights on both like Batman and the Joker and a couple of other characters are going to lapse, which I don't know what that means for filmmakers being able to make their own version of a Batman film. I think Disney will still have, rights that needs to be done. But, because even someone has said in other podcasts that, a rated R version, I think it was Mark Bernardin saying that to make a Superman movie that you can't take your kids to is just wrong or is just not right. So in other words, rated R movie versions of superhero movies is kind of like, um, now as an adult, I have a bias. I'm like, yeah, give me all the rated R versions you want. Let's do it. Like the Whedon cuts, you know, Aquaman seemed to be headed in that direction. Yeah. Still need you in a clown film. I'm in a clown film, sir. It's called Vulgar. It's not your typical clown film. So you've been warned. Aquaman seemed to be heading in that direction, in a darker direction. Yeah, and that was the thing. Snyder had this darker universe that he wanted to put these characters in. And I'm a big fan of that. I mean, come on, if the Miller, Dark Knight comic book series was groundbreaking in the 80s when that first came out, that kind of pushed comics into like, yo, we're going to do serious adult theme, adult issue, real world issue kind of takes on these characters. So from that point on, doing darker versions, I knew that's what me and my friends would always talk about in the, late 80s, early 90s. And, we were like, man, they're all pussies. They need to do really like, angry Batman or alcoholic Batman or blah, 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 And that's why I think the Nolan version of Batman's I enjoyed. I thought it was more of, a real man just training, rich enough to have access to have the Wayne Corporation be able to make his toys and his weapons and be on the cusp of being, doing these things and having the job of selling his technology to the military. It's very much a la Iron Man kind of esque kind of richness. And so I think the darker versions I enjoy. I think those type of films for adult versions of these superhero movies, I think you can have it both ways. You can have a filmmaker make a version of this way, and just look like all the versions of the Spider-Man movies that have come out. You know, and it took someone like a Kevin Feige to go, yo, let's take all this canon and let's just make it an action-packed special effects based on comics that have been around since the 80s kind of storyline, and let's see how it works for us. And man, did he have the winning formula of turning around Marvel Studios and even the Batman franchise, Spider-Man franchise. Um, Now I know there's a lot of people out there who will say, well, you know, the but Spider-Man is the only Spider-Man that's worth watching. And so, which is a great, Spider-Man, but it's we need to start spreading out, branching out to other. I'm glad for things like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm glad for all these spin-off kind of let's highlight these other Marvel characters except, instead of just keep making the top 5 Marvel character movies again and again and again. So I'm liking where this is going, you know. Because there's so many really cool characters. Like I never thought I would see a Doctor Strange movie. I mean, I enjoyed the comics, but the movie, I mean, first of all, it was a matter of special effects catching up to being able to pull off the visuals of making a movie about um, Doctor Strange. And so it's nice to see that we're doing, like Deadpool, right? Dark comedy versions of Batman like Deadpool. Yeah, I like that. That's with Jake Johnson as Bruce Wayne. I like that idea. Like, you know, and there was another gamble to take Deadpool and to introduce that character in a rated R way, which was the way it should have been because that's what the comic book was. Comic book really wasn't for kids. And so there's a lot of that out there that I don't mind being in it. Green Lantern and Ant-Man films I thought were bright and fun. Yes. I mean, the Ant-Man films were fun. The Green Lantern films just, for me, just missed the mark of the origin story. And I don't know what it was about it. And I don't, and it's not a Ryan Reynolds thing issue. Because I mean, God, talk about someone who bounced back. He came from an absolutely dreadful box office for Green Lantern to being one of the top box office hits with Deadpool. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, that was the other thing about the Snyder Cut was having someone from the Lantern Corps who had been on the planet to defend against Darkseid on the initial invasion, along with the Amazons, the Atlanteans, the the hero gods of Earth. Um, I'd like to see that. I'd like to. There were so many. Oh my God, there were so many little pieces of that Snyder cut that you can now use that as an origin to spread out to other individual movies. It'd be great to see Snyder's take on the Lantern Corps, Green Lantern Corps, and his version of Martian Manhunter. And, you know, every year, man, just here's a couple of $100 million. Go off, do it. We'll leave you alone. Make your version of it and come back and let's see what you got. Hal Jordan is not a jokey character. That's why it felt off. Yeah, true. True. And I guess then they were like, well, let's harness the Ryan Reynolds aspect of it and put him in a character who is jokey, which was Deadpool. And I mean, I like Deadpool, the first Deadpool. The second Deadpool was okay. I mean, I liked Cable as an enemy. Although, he goes from playing Cable into playing Thanos. I'm like, yo, save some evil villains for some other people, will you? There are other actors out there. Don't get me wrong. He played them both brilliantly. How come auto mode? I was chatting early. Don't know what that means. What does it say? Other than Dante, how about a story around Guildhicks or Grantix? Yeah, that the Viewist universe, I don't see it as like a Marvel universe where then we branch out and do origin stories of all the Hicks. That would be, I think Kevin would look at me like, what? I barely make money as it is with these films. I don't want to lose money. Take that off. Here we go. Throw that up there. Bam. Automotive is a bot. Oh. So if Brian could play a superhero, which would you like to be? Interesting. I don't know if I'm the superhero type. Usually, villains are better written dialogue, better written one-liners, usually cooler costumes. Plus, they usually have like minions or, goons. They have some devious world or universe domination plan. So I could see myself as that. I mean, that's what I used to play a lot when I did theater. I was always the bad guy, the antagonist, the villain, the monster, whatever. And then it was after Clerks is when I just started doing more and more and more comedies. So, yeah. Superhero? Don't know. Villain? Sure, let's do it. What are we talking about here? Let's do it. Mr. Mixoplex. There you go. I don't know. I'd have to really literally go into one of the big Book of Marvel, Book of DC, and go to see what they have. But once again, like I'd have a choice, like I'd ever be considered. Like maybe a voiceover of a cartoon I can say. Like, sure. We don't have to look at O'HalloRANT, do we? No, it's just his voice. Oh, all right. Yeah, sure. He could play that character. Brainiac. There you go. Now, is this just the floating head Brainiac? Just my brain and with eyeballs coming out of it, Brainiac? The name change, it would go from Brian to Brain, which, by the way, autocorrect does that to a lot of people when they text me on the phone or message me if you have autocorrect, and it automatically just goes from Brian to Brain. Like, hey, Brain, what's going on? And blah, 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 blah. I've stopped correcting people because I know that it's the autocorrect that's calling me Brain, not the person themselves. Although, no insult there. Hey, Brain. That's right. I'm a smart motherfucker. Don't you forget it. Brian as Ernst Blofeld in a Bond fic. Bottling the universe. There we go. A Bond villain would be great. I already have 4 cats. So I could even use my own cat. Like, well, listen here, Mr. Bond. I'm not going to tell you my entire plan because that would be stupid. But because we're in a film and the audience needs to know what my diabolical plan is, I will tell them. My diabolical plan is to completely turn the internet off and all satellites, bringing us back to actual face-to-face communications. I believe social media is destroying our universe as we speak. And I think carrier pigeons are the way to go. The very original version of a tweet. Honey, there's a pigeon on the ledge. Could you get that note for me? Are you even supposed to be here today? For fuck's sake, you're even using pigeons to say that stupid joke? Oh, man. Shoot the pigeon. There you go. There's my Bond villain. Somebody on Twitch make that a clip, and that's my James Bond villain audition self-tape. And knowing Fox, they'll steal that idea too. Ooh, did you just call out Fox? I did. Fox is known to steal people's ideas. Allegedly. From the grapevine, I've heard this. But if I see Daniel Craig facing some dude with a cat saying he's going to shut down the internet because he hates it, mark the time, 10:29 on the 26th of March, 2021. Consider yourself served. I've been sitting at this desk a long time. It was like 2 hours and like 20 minutes with the Xenoscope. By the way, if you're joining late, earlier this evening, I was having some fun with the good folks over at Xenoscope Entertainment. The monthly Xenoscope Movie Club, we did Night of the Comet. We actually had two of the stars of the movie on, Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney on. Check it out on the Xenoscope site, Xenoscope. You can see there at the bottom on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and Twitch as well, twitch.tv, Xenoscope, and catch that show. And they were an amazing group of actors to talk to about that film. It was a lot of fun. And then I went to go get dinner, and then joined us here on this show. A little about 20 minutes, 25 minutes late, but here I am making it up to you because now I'm already into 10:30 right here. So we'll see what happens. A millennial horror movie. That's right. That's right. Getting rid of the internet and social media would be a millennial horror movie. Now, I don't have kids, but if I had kids, and for friends of mine who do have kids, when you hear the stories about how they had to take their phone away from their son or daughter, or, they have control of the internet access coming into the house and they get on the, parent controls to turn them off at certain times. You hear some of these stories, like the kids are screaming bloody murder, like they're being skinned from like the fingertips up their arm. No, what do you mean I can't go on TikTok? But I just came up with a funny dance move to the Macarena. Is that a thing anymore? The Macarena? No? This just in. Brian makes 1991 wants their joke of a song back. Dragur, good to hear you, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening. I have one black cat, and she's a bitch. Well, funny enough, Mr. Treymock, black cats are supposed to be incredibly intelligent. So maybe she's just figured you out. Thus, you're pissed at that, and that's stupid bitch. In a social post on Discord and send as a DM. All right. There you go. In the 80s, we all needed to survive as G.I. Joe and Transformer cartoons. True, sir. Very true. In the 80s, back in my... See, I should do a banner at the bottom where I'm going to do this. I'm going to, as we speak, I'm coming up with a segment. Back in my day. Back in my day, the only space show around is Star Trek. I'm trying to point to my Mr. Spock from the Mirror episode. Back in my day, in the 80s, when you were calling your friends from your house to their house. They had to be home for them to get the message that you were doing whatever. Then, if you were full of house of other siblings, you were fighting for the phone. Or you'd be on the phone and like, yeah, Bob, right. Huh, Bob, yeah. And then it was something like, hey, someone would pick up the receiver from another room. Like, can you get off the phone? You've been on the phone for like 3 hours. I'm like, yeah, because I have friends and you don't. Who are you calling? Things like that. And start big fights where your parents are like, that's it. And they rip the phone right out of the wall. Nobody gets the call. I'm trying to watch the game. But now parents just give every kid their own phone. Nuts. And now phones like crazy. $1,000 for a phone. Come on, man. It's the same amount of technology as the phones you were giving away to us just like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Remember when you would just sign up and it was like, oh, if you sign up, we give you the phone for free? What the fuck changed? Like, seriously, what the fuck changed? Same amount of components. If anything, these phones are smaller. There's like less components in it. But now I got to pay $1,000? Christ almighty. It's getting a little, you guys are getting a little bold with the pricing. That's why they still just have a Samsung 8. That's right. They're up to like 21 and I'm still on 8. And I like it too, because since it's lower resolution on the camera, it's like a filter all to itself whenever it takes a photo of me. So in a way, I'm saving money. But I do like, look, I get it. They're shooting in 8K now. It does all sorts of craziness. And, the memory is 512 and you can fucking flush it down a toilet and it still survives, all this other bullshit. I get it. Come on, man. $1,000 for the average American. And then if you're an American with like teenage kids, I don't have that pain, but still I'm thinking about it. Like, wow, that's like $5,000 for a family. Just to have 5 phones. Ridiculous. Because I was, thinking about upgrading my phone. Not going to lie. But then when I went in to investigate, I'm like, what the frankincense is this? Holy crap. Maybe I should just buy $1,000 worth of carrier pigeons. But then carrier pigeons don't get Netflix. That's the problem with that. Carrier pigeons can't record you doing TikToks. I'm not on TikTok, by the way, so don't start looking for me on TikTok. I don't plan on getting on there. So, but yeah, phones, come on. Wow. Like if I'm spending $1,000 on a phone, right? I'm trying to think of what function would I need my phone to do. Non-sexual. Get your minds out of the gutter. I see some of you thinking, no, not talking that. But man, whew, crazy. If the phones that we now have today, if Kevin Smith in 93 had the phones that we had today, like the original Clerks shot in 8K, edit on the phone as well, send out a finished product all just made on the new phones. There are actually film festivals based on films that are made on phones. So the technology is there to do it. Libby's like, where is it? Sorry. Libby's like, didn't you get my pigeon? Right. Oh, I never got your pigeon, Libby. What? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't know my house. I don't know. It was windy today. Today it was very windy. Maybe it just got lost. That is usually the excuses, right? Hey, I sent you a DM. Did you get it? I don't know, man. Did you feed the pigeon? That'd be a good SNL sketch. And you're right. It's not a phone. It's a computer. You can make phone calls and keep in your pocket. You're absolutely right. Oh, so listen. So if we're gonna say that, then the thing I would like, if I'm gonna spend $1,000, then this better be the fucking communicator from the Enterprise, where it can beam me. It obviously is not beaming me up. The transporter on the ship is, but I mean, in a weird way, it is like the communicator from Star Trek and the tricorder, because now these phones where you can put your finger on the sensor and it'll take your heart rhythm and your blood pressure and I don't know. I mean, there's the app for people who have diabetes that you have the node on your arm and it gives you your blood glucose levels. So that's like the tricorder. For those who don't remember old school tricorder, is that it was that. Sorry if anybody's listening with headphones and I just whistled through your head like that. My apologies. Yeah, it is like a working tricorder. It is. They're making a working tricorder for $300 from TO. Really? I believe it. I mean, the only thing is that obviously the tricorder had like MRI or CT scan kind of technology built into it because it was a, oh, well, his blood levels are this and blah, 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 blah. So I guess there'd have to be some sort of technology like that, I would guess. Plus, it was also like a radar because there would be episodes of the original Star Trek where they used the tricorder to find where certain things were. Like, oh, there's life over there, and there's this, that, and over there, which I guess is just like Google Maps, but with sensors, just like Google Maps can tell you how traffic is because everybody with their phone that has Google Maps is pinging that they're not moving, and that's how you get your traffic. Nice. Joanna says, been calling my phone a tricorder since my Motorola X. Nice. I remember when cell phones were customizable to the point of what kind of ringtone you were, and especially the ones that then were allowed to use like MP3s as your ringtone. I remember there was a couple of my friends who were nerds. We're all nerds. One had the tricorder sound. One had the that that the communicators used to do. Another friend of mine had R2D2 beeping as their ringtone. Um, you know, those were the way people got. Ooh, look, I can. Yes, flip phones are making a comeback, but it's funny because it's not your typical flip phone back in the day where the bottom was all just the buttons and the screen was the top. Now you flip it and it's just the whole thing is the screen because they've apparently been able to perfect flexible screens that'll make it look this flat, right? And then I just fold it in half and put it in my pocket. It'll be interesting. I know some of them didn't work on certain tests. I miss making it. Well, you still can. You just haven't done it in a while. You got to find a sound that you like, Danger Girl. Make your own phone. Thank you, Gorilla Balls, for my room is cool. Yes, this corner of the room is cool. It's got some cool stuff in it. It's just a small segment. Here, I'll give you the sky cam look. Here you go. See, that's all the other stuff. And then there's more stuff there over that way. And then the rest of the TV room is that way. Here we go. That was that. You know what I used to have too? I used to have the Envy, and that was because that was kind of like it was a small phone, kind of like like this, right? And then you opened it like this, obviously it went flat. This is just eyeglass case, but you opened it like this, and there was the physical keyboard. I was a big fan of the physical keyboard. And I remember when iPhones came out and, people were touching the screen as their keyboard. And I was like, oh, man, I need a physical keyboard. Touching the screen, how does it know where your thumb is? Blah, blah, blah. By the way, that's an exact impersonation of how I sounded. And so I liked the Envies, the LG Envies and stuff, because they had physical keyboards. And so it took a while before I finally switched over to a switched over to a Samsung. And it was one of these deals. Sign up Verizon. If you sign up for a 2-year contract, we give you the phone. Okay. Done and done. I had what was a T-Mobile at the time, because T-Mobile or VoiceStream was the company, which eventually T-Mobile bought. VoiceStream was one of the few phone companies that allowed you to take a phone into Canada and not be charged international or roaming charges. And me and Diane were doing a film up in Canada. So I was like, we need a phone that works up in Canada without us spending like $20 a phone call. And so we had that for a year, and then we moved over to Verizon. Well, then T-Mobile bought VoiceStream, and just the coverage wasn't that great. And this is quite a few years ago. And then we went over to Verizon. I haven't left Verizon ever since, because no matter where I've gone, England, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Mexico, wherever it was, I've never had issues with service. So I was like, that's it, Verizon, only Verizon. But they used to give you the phone when you signed up for 2-year deals. And we used to go to Best Buy and hand in our phone and be like, all right, sign us up for another 2 years. And boom, here comes your next phone. And then things changed. The next thing you know, now you're paying $400 for your phone. I'm like, what? What happened to the free phone thing? Sorry, kid. And when we first did it was during a Black Friday sale. So we knew every Black Friday, every 2 years, we were upgrading our phones. And we did that for like, I think three Samsungs in a row. And I don't mean 8, 9, 10. Like, we would skip one phone and we would go from like a 4 to a 6 and a 6 to this 8. I think that's exactly how it went, actually. And then when it started being like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. You could sign up for 2 years, but we're not giving you a phone. You got to pay for the phone. But don't worry, we'll just amortize it into your bill. So every billing cycle, we're taking $40 out of we're adding $40 out on the bill as the payment for the phone, for 30 months, whatever it was. And I was like, fuck. And, me and Diane. So it was like double the fuck. And sometimes they'd have a buy one full price, get one free, which for 2 phones, let's be honest, just means 25% off of 2 phones. So now they're $1,000. Now that I'm thinking about upgrading, now they're $1,000. And look, I know they've been $1,000 for like a year and a half now or something like that. But it's just like when iPhone did it, I'm like, well, this is where Samsung's going to totally steal the market, because Samsung phones are not going to be $1,000, right? And then what? Next thing you know, they went to $1,000. Like, it went like to a monopoly. What's up, Skinny? SK1E, Skinny with a 1. Good to see you as well. I went through 13 replacements before they forced the Galaxy 3 on me. Yeah, I hear you. Yes, I remember the Resound had a great camera. I had a Razor. Ryan Carey says he had a Sidekick. I remember those where it'd slide up. You just slide it up. Blackberries. Yeah, I remember when people had Blackberries. And I was like, are you a stockbroker? What's with the Blackberry? And yeah, now that the new Razor. So you have the flip phone then. Isn't that the new Razor, Trey Mock? I think that's what the new, the flip phone that flips open to a smooth screen. I think that is the new Razor now, I think. Could be wrong. But yeah. And the other reason, the other thing too is why I like Samsung. I have been using Samsungs now for over 10 years or whatever it is because My TVs are now Samsung. I have, you know, my tablet is Samsung. Um, and it's easy to just cache it from my tablet and throw it up onto the TV real quick, or on my phone and throw it up onto a TV real quick. And that integrate, the integration is really great. People with iPhones, unless you have the Apple TV, you're not really, I don't know if you can throw stuff on other TVs. I'm not sure, but anyway, unless you have also, uh, Google Streamcast, if you have those hooked up to your TV, I have those on my TVs as well. So I throw it up on that as well. Plus I'm an Android guy. I'm an Apple nothing. Even when iPods were out for music, I didn't do that. I did Creative. Creative brand is a company that makes sound cards. They came out with a thing called a Zen, and I did a Creative Zen as my MP3 player. And then what other one did I have? I didn't have the Zoom or the Zune from Windows, from Microsoft. I didn't have that. But I didn't even have. I'm just not an Apple person. And you would think, working with people in film and graphic arts and stuff like that, they're all about Apple. God love them, especially podcasters love them. They're all plug and play, and the fact that they barely get any kind of viruses, I get it. But I also, back in the day as a kid, I built my own computer rigs. Like I'd buy motherboards, I'd buy the RAM, I'd buy the hard drives, I'd buy the video cards, the sound cards, the power supply, make sure there's enough fans in and I'd buy mid towers so that I have enough room for air circulation. And maybe I'd trick one or two out with some lights. And so I was a Windows, builder of gaming rigs, especially. And so I guess from that, I just stayed PC. And then PC was much more obviously able to be integral to Android phones and the Android operating systems. I did once win from a contest online um, a Microsoft phone. Had that for like a year. It was very good. Didn't not every app developer made apps that also worked for the Windows phone. So that just lasted a year. But not because Windows didn't make a good phone. It's just because nobody was making apps that worked with that phone's operating system. It was weird. But I remember winning the phone, go, hey, I won a free phone. Now I wish I could win a free phone. Anybody from Samsung or anybody with connections to Samsung, if you're listening, I would totally endorse your phone for a free one instead of $1,000.
In a row?
Yes, in a row. I will go from Samsung to Samsung to Samsung in a row. Thank you for that shout out. What do we have here? And are they ancient? And aren't they all ancient and unsupported now? Yes, they are. Makes it miss you. Windows 98 Dell Inspiron. Wow. The Stargate Atlantis. Wow. Yeah, and me and Brian will endorse your phone, Samsung. See, everybody wants to endorse them. They know they caught us. They have us stuck in having it. So yeah, so that's me. I'm a PC Samsung build my own computer type of guy, which I've been very, 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 very fortunate that I have had this computer now for probably 7 years. And when I was building it, I was like, I'm building something that's going to last a long time. So I spent a lot of money on very good parts. And so far, the only thing I've replaced, and not because it burnt out, just because the technology is necessary, was the video card. and that was early last year. It was actually during the pandemic because that's when Jay Muse was like, "Yos, you got to get on Twitch and you got to start gaming and you got to start doing this and blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay." And so then I just did a test to see if my system still holds up. Now, RAM, processing speed, I'm all good. But my video card was kind of lacking, especially since of this streaming video and sound. You need a really, it's best to have a very good video card that won't give you any lag, you won't lose any frame rate, kind of thing. And you can pump out, if I'm just using a Logitech 920 here webcam as my camera, but I know people who use DSLRs as their cams and get nice, cleaner, crisper video, and that's at a higher resolution, higher frame rate sometimes, and so you need that video card to cover your ass for that. So I did. I went out and bought another higher end video card so that this will hopefully carry another quite a few years. And if I have to change motherboards and processing speeds, this can jump right into whatever new rig I decide to put together. We shall see. What's in my ears? Funny enough, my Samsung headset. Now, obviously, what am I listening to? There's no one. Usually, if I'm having a conversation, if I'm interviewing someone, I don't like to play it through the speakers on my desk because the mic will pick it up and then there'll be kind of a reverb kind of thing going on. So I like to put on the headphones. And so just out of habit, I have my headphones in. So I'm hearing myself, so the voice in my head is me right now. So that's what's in my ears. And these are, funny enough, the Samsung headset that came with the phone. So there you have it. Actually, it's a replacement pair. But I like them because they're small. I don't have, a lot of people have the big cans as they do their podcast. I do have really great pairs of over the ear kind of podcasting Steinheiser pair. But after a while, it gets hot under there. And I'm hearing just fine under here. I also have a bunch of Sonys, like when I would record other people, when we once were able to all be in the same room together, and hopefully soon again. And I have my mixer, and I give everybody their own mic and give their own headsets. I have a bunch of the Sony studio headsets as well. And then I also have some Beats wireless ones somewhere here. Yeah. I have some Beats wireless ones, right, that you would wear, jogging, whatever. But I noticed that when you do Bluetooth with the computer and the mixing board, there's a delay, there's a latency delay that it was just like, I would say, "Hey, 1, 2, 3," and then instead of me hearing it exactly as I'm saying it, I would hear it like a second and a half delay. "Hey, 1, 2, 3." So I was like, "Ooh, I can't do that." But overall, if I'm flying, like when I'm traveling, flying on an airplane, listening to music, the Beats are really good. So those are good headphones, Bluetooths. And I'm never doing the earbuds that just hang. Apple, even some people who have it for their Android phones, where they just turn one way and bloop, it's fallen and gone somewhere. I like corded stuff, and even the Bluetooth I have the cord to each other, so they'll throw this behind my neck. So if it falls, it's just going to go like this. Hopefully, I like things that are corded when it comes to headphones. I'm old-fashioned like that. Back in my day, you had the phonograph with the big cone-shaped speaker thing. No, I don't go that far back. I go far back, though, for 8 tracks. I have 2 older brothers, one 6-year and one 9-year older than me. and they had 8-track cassettes. So we had a stereo with 8-track cassettes at home, and then the cars, that was like, the new cassettes were the 8-track cassettes. And then, wax cylinder. Back in my day, I only listened to wax cylinders. And the 8-tracks were huge. I don't know. I say an 8-track would be about this size, in shape, but then thick. And you'd put it in and you'd play a song, and it's just like a cassette tape, and it would play the one side of the album while going one way, then it would stop. The sensor would know that and click it, move the player head down one, and then play it the other way, and then you had the second side, just like regular cassette tapes today. Well, not today, because even then, like when we were done with cassettes and then CDs came out, I remember like CDs were and this was like in the 80s and early 90s, CDs were like $25 to more for an album to have it put on CD. If not more, I almost want to say $50 even. And I was just like, holy crap. And I remember a friend of mine had, like, his family had bought one of the first CD player, rack system CD players for the house. And he was getting rid of it because his dad was getting him something better. And so he was like, do you want it? And I'm like, sure. So my first audio CD that I bought was, I believe, Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Like, I was going to test out the CD player with an album that I knew was like, ooh, this will be cool to hear as a CD. Because they were making CDs sound like, oh, the audio is enhanced, it's digital, it's an amazing progress in audio technology. So I remember listening to Dark Side of the Moon on this CD. I was like, ooh. And then then you'd hear, oh, they're going to be making movies that are going to be on CDs. But at first, they were laser discs that were the size of a vinyl record. And those players were like $700, if not more. And it was funny because Clerks came out on VHS, but then it also came out on Laserdisc. So to this day, I still get fans who come in with the Laserdisc, which once again is the size of a vinyl record. And I always ask them, like, do you have the player to play this? Most of them say yes. Every once in a while, I was like, no, I just collect it to collect it. I'm like, oh, so you don't have a Laserdisc player? He goes, no. Same thing with VHSs. Like, they don't make VHS machines anymore. The last factory in Japan that made the actual players went out of business like 5-6 years ago. So if you see them at like your local garage sales or something, pick them up. Because those people who are like, VHS collector files, they want to buy them. And you'll like pick it up for like $100 or $30 and sell it for like $300. So hang on to your VCRs, people. It'll be interesting where we go next, technology-wise, because everything's streaming. So now, I know there are some of the collectors out there who like love their vinyl. Yeah, someone here, Spin Nerd says, paid $500 for VCR in the early 80s. Yeah, that's about right. And Haven for Heroes, and this is part of his business. He does this. He goes and buys people's collections and stuff, and he sells at his store, but also on his online shop on eBay. Yeah, they sell well. VCRs definitely sell well. Sony Walkmans, yes. I had the basic one back in the day, and then I had the yellow one, the sports version, which were bright yellow, because you could move around and your tape wouldn't skip or whatever, and you can get sweaty with it, whatever. I had the yellow one. Those were fun. Yes, with the lock. That's right. There was that little click where you either slid it down over the other part so it would stay locked. Man, those were fun. That's in some junk drawer trunk at my mother's somewhere. that yellow sports version, and they gave the crappiest headset. It was thin. It was a thin metal wire and the little yellow earbuds that came down and in, but the plastic from the wire into the earbuds, very flimsy. And the one earbud just cracked off, and that was the end of that. Next thing you know, they're like this. They literally are just like without without the over bar to put them together. And it's so funny that this is what we somewhat do now. And then those who have the wireless Bluetooth, just earbuds that just sit in your ear. Who knew? Ian's waiting for the return of the 8-track tape. Keep waiting, sir. I don't think that's happening. I mean, there are collectors, though. There are people who physically do that. Okay, here's a thought. Would you rather have a digital stream copy of a movie or a physical copy DVD? See, I actually like physical copies of the DVD. Why? I think it's because God help you if the internet goes down. The internet going down doesn't matter. As long as I have power, I can put that DVD. And I have one of those traveling small 7-inch DVD players that has the screen that flips up and built in. I got it for a steal on Amazon one time, and thinking like, oh, whenever I'm going to be on a flight that doesn't offer a movie, I'll just do this. And this was a couple of years ago. So that being told, having a physical DVD, I think, is helpful for those situations. Plus, I don't know. I guess I'm still that generation that likes to collect and physically have, I can turn to my shelf and be like, oh, you know what? I feel like watching whatever old, the Wrath of Khan right now, and just pull it off without having to go, hang on. Let me see if it's on Netflix. Oh, well, let me see. Oh, now I got to pay for Paramount streaming network now to watch Wrath of Khan. You know what I mean? So, and I only collect the things that I know I love and that I want to see again. I mean, then there's the other aspect of it. If you're that type of fan and you are the type of fan that goes to a Comic-Con or anything else and you see someone from the film, you now can have them sign your copy of your DVD or VHS or what have you, which I have signed hundreds of versions of Clerks and other movies and stuff like that. So there's that aspect of it too. And yeah, Danger Girl makes out a relevant point here. She buys, and most bigger films now do this, where they'll give you a code to download a digital download of your copy as well. So there you go. Absolutely true. I buy way less DVDs, well, Blu-rays now than I used to. Straight up, the movies I buy now are like Star Wars and Kevin Smith movies. Thank you, Mr. Frischetti. I appreciate that. And to put us in the company of Star Wars, that's high praise indeed. Yeah, same here. I'm not buying every, thing I love. Like I didn't watch Game of Thrones at all when it was airing, right? So then the series had ended. I never watched any of it. But then Amazon had an amazing Black Friday sale on the whole series. I was like, all right, well, here's my chance. So I bought it. So now I have a physical, boxed edition of the series. And which I finally, thank God for the pandemic. Horrible thing to say, Brian. I know, I'm joking. But that gave me the time to watch things that I'd bought and never had the time to actually sit and binge through. So I was able to, over like a 4-6 week period, watch all of Game of Thrones. And it's that type of thing that, that's something that I would go back and watch again. And I know some people are like, well, don't watch the last 2 seasons. I know the writing, yes, somewhat got weaker as the series went on. But it's those type of things that that I really, really will buy to collect. Like another great deal I got from Amazon was all the Mel Brooks, all the Mel Brooks movies in a box set. Bought that because those are comedy classic gold. I have that on DVD. The Carol Burnett Show, a box set of all the Carol Burnett episodes. If you want to learn about comedy, especially physical comedy and satire, great collection of comedy to have. There was a collection of all the George Carlin comedy specials and interviews. That was a box set that I bought. I'm a big George Carlin fan. All the Monty Python Flying Circus shows I have on DVD, that whole collection. There's a lot of stuff, The Honeymooners, another classic comedy collection I have, which I enjoy, that I know that I can throw on. And I know when I physically can't get out of chairs anymore and they're like, what do you want to watch? Pop. I don't know why someone's calling me Pop all of a sudden because I have no kids. I'll be like, give me my collection of all the Star Wars movies, or give me my collection of all the Star Trek movies, or I want my collection. Put that in the bibbity boo box. What are you kids calling the TV box these days? Oh, old man, we just beam it straight to your brain now. Now I'm going back to the Riddler plot from the Batman movie. Remember, he was taking over people's brain waves by amplifying it for like a cable box and just beaming it in to people's brains. All right. I want to tell you guys, thank you so much. I'm going to let you guys have your weekend like I have control of that. But thank you guys for spending sorry I jumped on late, but I needed to get some food in me. I want to thank all of you guys for coming out and spending some time with me. Sorry we didn't have a guest tonight. I hope I was able to be entertaining enough. Next week, I don't know. I'm trying to get someone up on for next week. Excuse me. Otherwise, I'm going to be doing an appearance down in the Gulfport part of Mississippi in the middle of next month. I'll be putting up stuff on my social media about that soon. Going to be emceeing a charity run it's called a Zebra Run, 4th annual Zebra Run for Rare Disease. It's from the United Multiple Sulfatase Deficiency Foundation. A friend of mine, his daughter is afflicted with this condition, and they're raising money now for medical research and a cure. This is the 4th annual Zebra Run. What makes it a Zebra Run? You dress up as a zebra. And it's a 5K and 1 mile fun run. All the money goes to the foundation. That is Saturday, April 17th in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. But I'll also be down there that same weekend appearing at a couple of comic book shops. One is 3 Alarm Comics. The other one is Games and Geeks. I believe they're in Biloxi. So I'll be talking more about that in the coming days. So please, if you want to find out more about that, you can just go to curemsd.org for more information. If you're down in the Mississippi area, where hopefully I will get some crawfish, a crawfish boil from a good friend of mine, Tom, down that direction. And like I said, I'll be putting up some posts this week about the appearances at 3 Alarm and Games and Geeks comic book shop this week. And hopefully I'll have more to talk about with Clerks 3 in the coming months. We get that done. And cons are starting to reschedule. And emails are being sent. Plans are being hopefully made. I miss you guys in the flesh. I'm not going to lie. I miss hanging out with my friends, some of them who are on here watching the stream. I miss you guys terribly. Amy, happy birthday once again. Danger Girl AC. Thank you for sharing some of your birthday weekend with me this weekend. I'm glad I was able to sing you happy birthday. But yeah, my agency has been telling me about the rescheduling of things that were supposed to happen with not only with just me, but me and Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall. This was his coming out year last year, and he came out. We did 2 shows, and then the world was infected. So I jokingly said that Randall infected the world, and that's where we started with. So we're hoping to reschedule all these things. As a matter of fact, there's a going to be a booking for a cruise, February of 22. But they book these things that far in advance to sell. Obviously, rooms on this cruise. It's out of Miami. I believe it goes to Cozumel. It's like a 4 or 5 day cruise. I'll be posting this week some information on the Geek Boat. You can go to thegeekboat.com for information. Myself, Jeff Anderson, Cooper. Why am I losing his name? Cooper from The Walking Dead. So anyway, thegeekboat.com, check it out. That's February 2022. Start saving up your stimulus checks now for the Geek Cruise. It should be a blast. It's pretty much like a regular con, and then at night you have karaoke and all sorts of fun and games, and we're all on the same boat. So if we get enough people, we're going to need a bigger boat. So check it out. But thank you guys. I want to say I'm really, really glad that everybody's doing well. If you've had family or friends who've been suffering through this, through the pandemic, or through what's been going on with the economy not starting up so quickly, or even getting your vaccine down. I know I'm not in any qualifying category as of yet where I live. I know some states are dropping, ages and stuff like that, and I'm glad for them. So if you get your chance to get your shot. Take the shot. Take it for all of us. Congratulations, Anthony, getting your J&J vaccine Wednesday. Yeah, I'm looking closer towards trying to get the J&J one, since that's your traditional type of vaccine. People around me have gotten it. People's parents have gotten the Pfizer one, Moderna, J&J. I know that there are some companies that are working on a nasal delivery system, like you would take, both nostrils and like the Afrin kind of spray up your nose, and you're inoculated. And the more we're all inoculated, the better, because I want to get back out. I want to see movies in movie theaters. I want to go to bars. I want to go to restaurants. I want to have an utterly guffawing laugh amongst friends without worrying about being too close. I want to go to hockey games. Holy shitballs, do I miss going to hockey games. My good friend Bob, Nostrababis Senkowitz, my normal hockey friend, and occasionally Amy herself, Danger Girl AC. We catch hockey games as well from time to time. I can't wait to get back to a good old hockey game. And even a baseball game. Yeah, I'm a Met fan, and I say it. I want to see them in person. This year they're looking good, although I say that every year, to be honest with you. But now with this new owner, who's not hesitant to spend some dollars on getting some players, I look forward to catching a Met game with my friends, eating some food out there, having a couple of beers. I don't mind spending $11 for a beer at this point. I just want to be out. I want to be out. That's all. You guys are great, and I want to say, we'll hopefully see you next weekend, next Friday. I'll do a post, so it's not like this hey, I'm on, surprise. And I'm going to try to work on more of perhaps gaming with Twitch. We'll see. We'll see how it is. Broadway as well. You're right. Broadway, sushi and all of it. Joanna, go Flyers. My apologies, Joanna. My Rangers crushed your Flyers twice. Yoicks. And I feel bad because there are quite a few players on the Flyers who are former Rangers, including the coach. But yeah, it was nice to see the Rangers for once getting over on the Flyers. So we'll see. We'll see how this playoffs go with hockey. We'll see how opening day goes with baseball. And as far as basketball, I mean, I used to follow the Knicks, and then nobody seemed to follow the Knicks for the past like 6 years because they were just dread awful. This year, they're looking strong. So we shall see. Go Leafs, go! All right, Super Bones, y'all got a great team up there. I'm not gonna lie, you guys are a scoring machine. You guys are pretty dominant up there in that division. So, Caps. You're in Ohio. Why are you rooting for the Caps? Really? Oy. By the way, that's from Mike Travis. Shouldn't you be like a Detroit fan or a Blue Jackets fan? The only hockey team I know is the Missouri Mavericks. Good for you, Cup Prime 17. Support those local AHL, EHL leagues, KHL, if you're over there in Europe. I'm from Ohio and like Ohio teams. Oh, okay. 0 Ohio teams, excuse me. You're from Ohio and you don't like any Ohio teams. Oh, that's an interesting topic alone right there. Thank you. Love today. Fun. Have a good night as well. Yeah, I've been saying goodnight for the last song and a half. So, Maple Leafs for life. You do that, Captain Sparrow. And to all of y'all, have a good weekend. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear the mask. And keep your distance if you can. And be nice to one another. On that note, good night. Bye-bye.